Welcome to my All Things Google tutorial. Now I'm going to talk about how to use Google Maps. Oftentimes we go places and we rely on our phone GPSs like Scout, or if you're not up to technology, you might print out directions from MapQuest, or you could just be on public transportation and get turned around. So Google Maps has a lot of great resources that you can do. So the first thing you want to do is open up a Google Chrome page, and you're going to type in maps.google.com. Now, in the left-hand corner over here, you'll see Getting Around. If you happen to have used Google Maps before, then you'll see some familiar addresses that you can use. You'll also see an option here that says Get Directions. If you're logged into your Google, your name will be in the top corner. And this is good because any locations that you type up will be saved and you'll be able to use them later on. Down in this corner, you see Google Earth, and Google Earth just shows you a more 3D picturesque version or view of the area. And then over here you have picture options. You have the option to zoom in or zoom out. And this little guy right here, if you drag him anywhere and drop him down, he'll show you a street view of where you are going or what location you're particularly interested in. And then you can kind of pan around. So this is kind of like a little view of my neighborhood. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to talk about how to use Google Maps to find directions. And you can use this in your classroom by having your students map out directions to their favorite hangout spot, their favorite restaurant, or even for them to create a how to get back home brochure for a younger sibling where they can use Google Maps to get different sets of directions. So the first thing, Google Maps will give you the opportunity to set your home location or your work location, and you can choose a starting point. So I'm going to have our starting point be actually my job. So you type in the address, 601 Carpenter Street. And then it'll tell you all the different Carpenter Streets. So Glassboro, Greenport, Camden. So we're going to do Philadelphia. And the map will actually bring up your starting location. And I'm going to ask Google Maps to give me directions to Franklin Mills Mall. So now, it's going to instantly show you directions for leaving now. If you want to leave at another time, you can click on this arrow and change your departure time or your arrival time. They'll always give you 3 sets of directions. So in this case, it's telling me that I can travel by 95 North. It'll take 26 minutes and 16.2 miles. If you look on the map, it'll also point out some construction zone warnings. If you click on details, slide this over a little bit so you can see, it will give you the actual directions for how to get there. So these are driving directions. If I wanted to print them, I could click print, and it gives me the option of printing it with the map or the text only. If I want to know what the traffic is like, I can click show traffic or hide traffic. And right now it's blue, so that means traffic is pretty clear. The next set of directions are for public transportation. I can also click here, this transit button, and it will give me various directions for public transportation as well as how much is going to cost. They'll show you a bus option and connecting routes. These little arrows mean they're connecting routes, departure time, arrival time. And again, you can look at the details. Now, if you're saying that you may want to leave a little later, or what happens if you miss one of the buses, you can click on Schedule Explorer. And it will give you the different route options and what times they are leaving. So this is great if you want to plan for a later time. And I'm going to say I'm going to depart tomorrow. And let's say we'll depart at 9 or 8:30 a.m. So now the routes come up. And this is a bus, the L Market Frankfurt line, and another bus. Then I'll hit X to come out of those. Walking directions, although I'm sure you wouldn't want to walk to Franklin Mills, but this will be good if you're taking your students on a trip somewhere. You can have them start at your school location and type in a location of a trip. So we're close to the Constitution Center and the Liberty Bell. So I'm going to type in the Liberty Bell. And now, if you look on the map, it shows the route that we could walk to get to the Liberty Bell. So 19 minutes, 1 mile. It also gives various routes that you can take. And as I click on the different routes, the lines change. Google Maps will always give you the quickest route first. If you want to look up bicycle directions, it will give you the bicycle paths, and you can actually see which paths are bicycle paths, which streets have actual bicycle lanes. And then say you're going on a trip or you want your students to determine the cost of a trip that requires airfare, like Miami, Florida, for example. And I'm going to click on airline. And again, this is leaving on June 20th. You can change the dates if you want, but it tells you nonstop. There are 8 flights that leave per day, 2 hours and 45 minutes. If you have a connecting flight, that's 4 hours and 15 minutes, and the cheapest rate is $197. And if you want more detailed results, you can see results on Google Flight. Another interesting feature with Google Maps is you have the option of determining whether you want toll roads or no tolls. So I'm going to put in New York, and we're going to click driving. And it will tell you that this route has tolls. If you don't want to pay the tolls, you click on route options, avoid tolls, and it'll give you the directions again. If the directions come up again with tolls, then there's no possible way to avoid tolls on this road. Also, if you want to avoid highways, you can do so, but your time will always increase. Another cool option with Google Maps, you can click on My Maps and you can create a custom map. So you go to create. And My Maps, it gives you a lot of different options for you to create your own map. Now you can add a marker for a location. One is already here. And you can also label it. If you want to add another place, you can add layer. If you want to share this location with someone, you can. If you want to delete the map, you have that option as well. So here's some other options you can use. Save. So again, this was just a brief tutorial on how to use Google Maps. This would be really great to use in your classrooms if you wanted to show your students a particular place. For example, I have my students look up different colleges. So say the University of Miami. I can find it here, and then if I drag the little street view, all of these blue lines are streets where I could drop the person. And when I drop them there, there we go. I can now look around, and this is US Route 1. I can look around the area, can zoom in, go up and down the street. If I didn't drop him exactly where I wanted him, I can come back on the map and change where he goes. So now we're looking more at the University of Miami campus. Google Maps also has, this is a part of Google Earth as well. They also have different pictures, so you can always click on specific photographs to share with your students as well. So you can use this tool to take your students on a virtual tour without even leaving your classroom. So I hope you enjoyed this quick how-to on using Google Maps. See you next time.